Welcome everybody to Kitchenorama. Hope you all are enjoying a great warm weather. And you can also find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest. Today I'm making avocado berry cheesecake in two different ways. You can make it as a regular cheesecake or you can make mini cheesecakes in baked version. So let's get started. For this recipe, you need 1 cup of finely chopped walnuts, 1 cup of finely chopped seedless dates, 1 cup of finely chopped almonds. Now, if you have a food processor, you can go ahead, throw all this in together and blend it into fine powder. Instead of using graham crackers or any other crackers for the base of my cheesecake, I'm going to use healthy nuts to make the base. Get your Instant Pot going on saute mode and add all the 3 ingredients that is going to form the base of your cheesecake and start sauteing them. After some time, you will notice that your dates start getting a little bit softer and mushier. And that's exactly when you know your base is ready. So once it turns golden brown, and once you pick it up and you see that your dates are cooked and they are mushy, this is your base. Go ahead, take it out in a bowl and set it aside. I'm using a 4-inch spring foam pan here. This is very easy to make sure that once your cheesecake is done, it comes out very easily because the base is very easily pushed up out of the ring. I'm going to grease it with butter and then I'm going to make a bottom layer with the nut mix that I made. I'm going to put a little portion of it and just push it down to make a nice thick layer, depending on how thick you want it to be. Now, usually I go by roughly about like 1 mm thick, but you can go more than that. Simultaneously, what I'm going to do if I want to bake bite-sized mini cheesecakes, I'm taking cupcake liners in my muffin trays and I'm going to use the same stuff that I used for my base and line my cupcake liners at the bottom of it. And I am going to now put all these in the refrigerator, roughly about 30 to 40 minutes to chill and set. While my base is getting cooled off in the refrigerator, I'm going to get started to make the filling. For the filling, I'm using Trader Joe brand cream cheese. You're going to use a hand blender, or if you have a KitchenAid stand mixer, you can go ahead and do that too. I find hand blenders for smaller portions and smaller cakes pretty handy dandy. So go ahead and whip up your cream cheese nice and soft. You want to make sure there is no lumps. I'm using 1 cup of brown sugar. Now, if you don't want your cheesecake to have a little bit of a yellowish tinge and you're very particular about the aesthetics of your cheesecake, then go ahead and use refined sugar or powdered sugar that you can use for baking. I'm using 3 eggs beaten. Now, there are a lot of recipes out there that will say you have to add 1 egg at a time. I find it much easier if I have pre-beaten my eggs and then I just go ahead and add all of that together. Now, the key here is the Greek yogurt. I'm going to use about 2 big tablespoons of Greek yogurt. And I'm going to use the blender again to mix everything together. Remember, guys, when you're making cheesecake, one of the important things to do is to make sure that you are mixing your ingredients very well. They should be all incorporated into each other because you want that thick, nice, creamy, non-lumpy texture. After your mixing has been done, I have taken 1 medium-sized avocado and I have mushed it into a food processor, or you can use the back of the fork. Make sure it's finely mushed. There shouldn't be any lumps, guys. If there are lumps, this is going to ruin your cheesecake. And then I'm going to go ahead and mix my avocado puree into my cream cheese batter. Ooh, look at that color. Now, as you can see, that I did not care for a whole lot of that green color, but it still looks green to me. And then I'm using 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. Now, cornstarch is going to give me that gluten that I need to hold my cheesecake together. Now most of the cheesecake recipes will ask you to put all-purpose flour, which is actually truly gluten, and I'm trying to keep my recipe gluten-free, so I'm using cornstarch instead to act as a binding agent. Now my spring foam pan and my cupcake liners have chilled off, and I have some of this berry rum jam. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, check my video about the cheesecake ice cream I had posted a few weeks back, and it has a complete small section on how I created the jam on my own. And then I'm going to add my cream cheese filling on top of my base. And I'm going to make sure that I spread it all good, give it a good tap, and then you want to make sure that it is all nice and settled. And I'm going to top it off with the mixed berry and rum infused jam. I'm going to take a little toothpick, nothing fancy here, and I'm going to give it good nice swirl so that now I know when I take a bite into my cheesecake, I will also get a good nice flavor of this nice berry jam in there. Guys, this cheesecake is great for holidays. It's great for small parties, great for get-togethers. The only thing I would say is if you're making it in the Instant Pot, try consuming the cake within 24 to 48 hours. But if you're baking it, it's good for a couple of days. Go ahead and top another layer of your cream cheese batter. And then wiggle, 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 tap, tap, tap. You want to leave a little bit of area on top of the spring foam pan. You don't want to fill your pan completely because you know this cake is going to rise a little bit. And that's it. Go ahead and cover it with a foil wrap. And this is going to go in the Instant Pot to be cooked. Now you can follow the exact same steps if you want to use a bigger pan. I'm using a 4-inch spring foam pan. If you're doing 8 inches, then you just have to double up the ingredients. And then I'm going to set that aside, and let's see how we're going to make our mini cheesecakes that are going to go in the oven and they're going to get baked. So same drill, guys. I have the base set up. I'm going to go ahead and scoop smaller portions of my batter, line my cupcake liners with that, and then I'm going to drizzle them with my berry jam again. And the best part is you can chill these once they are done, like once you've baked them, once you have cooked them. And you can chill them and you can use them, whenever you have a small get-together or potlucks. Serve them at room temperature. They are phenomenal. So as you can see, I've added some berry jam here. I'm going to go ahead and give it a good nice twirl. Now in this case, I want the berry jam to stay on the top, so I'm not going to be topping it with any more batter. Now, the spring foam pan goes into the Instant Pot. So make sure the Instant Pot has roughly about 1 inch to 1.5 inches of water at the bottom. Use a trivet and put your spring foam pan on top of the trivet. Go ahead and seal the lid. Turn the vent on. And then you're going to cook it on manual mode for roughly about 45 minutes. While my cupcakes go into my oven at 370 degrees Fahrenheit for roughly about 15 to 17 minutes. You can always open and see. You should have a little bit of a golden cooked tinge on top. And as you can see how those cracks have appeared, and it's totally normal if your cheesecake or the cupcake cheesecakes look like they're cracked. That's totally fine. They are so delicious. Go ahead and transfer them onto the baking tray so they can cool off. After 45 minutes, on the other hand, when your cheesecake in the Instant Pot is done, you're going to release the pressure. Please be careful, guys. Please don't burn yourself. The steam is really hot. And then pull out your trivet. And then you're going to take the foil wrapping off. Now always remember, when you open your pan, it's still going to be a little wiggly, and that is totally normal. Take the spring foam pan and put it in the refrigerator for maybe about 3 to 4 hours, because that is going to help set your cheesecake. And once it is cooled off, you can just use a small cup or a glass, an inverted glass on top of your tabletop. Unlock your spring foam pan and push the cake out. And look at that. Nice and creamy and soft cheesecake for you to enjoy. If you're enjoying my recipes, do not forget to subscribe and stay safe. Have a great weekend.